All right, it's May. We're in the midst of the Western Conference and Eastern Conference finals of both the NHL and the NBA. I hadn't made a video since before the NCAA tournament. Um, so in the time period, I've obviously watched college basketball until it ended, but um, watched NBA, kind of caught up on that NBA League Pass, so go back and watch some of the games through there, and um, now I've just been watching playoffs, and as most people predicted, Cavs and Warriors will probably be in the finals. I can very well see it. Um, I think the Spurs and the Celtics are very good teams. Um, I think they're teams that will be here next year. I think this is a series that will make these teams better. When I look at Kawhi and when I look at the loss of Kawhi and the loss of Tony Parker, we don't really know what's going to happen with Kawhi. Um, I could see him being done for the series. Very well, I could see him coming back for Game 3. So um, we really don't know the extent of the injury, but they're going to be playing on Saturday. Today is Friday, and they'll probably just see how he's feeling tomorrow. But things that I will say from the series, I will say Warriors will win, but it's more about the development of these young players for the Spurs. This is a huge series. I think Murray, regardless, they're going to have two more games in the series. I think Murray will grow. I think Jonathan Simmons will grow. I think Kyle Anderson will grow. I think those are three guys that are going to be key pieces in the future. I know Kyle Anderson has been very disappointing thus far as a Spurs fan, but I think Kyle Anderson, once he gets his confidence up, once he gets some playing time, because he really didn't really get that greater playing time, I think he's going to be a guy that really excels for them. Guys that hold the team down right now, LaMarcus Aldridge, Danny Green, injured, Tony Parker, Kawhi Leonard, those guys are out. Ginobili is, people love to rave about Ginobili now, and it makes me really upset because he's a 39-year-old who, is a shell of what he was. Ginobili was an amazing player, and the thing was is they didn't really ever want to talk about how great Ginobili was whenever, he was a key piece in, championship runs for the Spurs in the 2000s. And so it just makes me upset. It's kind of like you ride him now because you know he was so great, but you didn't really say nothing about him during the time period that, Tim Duncan's having a bad game, and then Ginobili's playing this awesome defense, getting steals. It was just every time that the Spurs needed a huge play, Ginobili, and that's what I do. And so I think Ginobili is a good vet on the team. I don't think they'd mind if he played another year. But I think, LaMarcus Aldridge is a soft player. I think LaMarcus Aldridge this is the way to describe him. He was a great player at Portland. But I feel like last year he came in and he kind of deferred to Duncan. And I think this year he's came in, I feel like he's kind of deferred to Kawhi. And he's had good games. But I just, in a time period where I saw, I feel like he can take deep twos, but a lot of times he'd rather post up and then take a fadeaway or a hook from there. And, those are like low percentage shots, and he doesn't make a lot of he makes a lot of them, but you see him miss some too. So it's just you can drive to the lane and get a foul also. You know what I mean? Like, but and that's why I call him soft though. And you know, when I think about the Spurs, they used to be so team oriented, and this year they became so Kawhi. Like they're like, and that's one of my ex-girlfriends. She always used to say, "Oh, I don't like the Lakers because they just do everything's in Kobe, and you know they're not even good. They just have Kobe, and you know, and she's a Spurs fan, and the Spurs are really good because you know, hey, they just play team basketball and stuff. And I'm looking at them now, and I'm like, they're not playing team basketball now. So that's my thing. They need to get back to team basketball. That's what makes the Spurs great. And I think the Kawhi injury, I think Tony Parker injury, I think this series will make them grow a lot. And I think those young guys will, you know, Patty Mills even. I mean, he's not a young guy, but you know, he's not an old guy either. He's starting to get up there. He's starting to get some, you know, his experience. So, Patty Mills is another guy that can be good for them. For the Celtics, this might be surprising for me to say this. I really think they should. You know, I don't exactly know what type of deal Isaiah Thomas is on with him. But I really think they should get rid of. I really think they should get rid of him while he's hot. You know what I mean? While he's good, because I just feel like he's a good player. Like he's kind of like Lowry. He's a good player, but he's not great. And like, my other thing. So he's on a 4-year deal. He signed a 4-year deal. Thomas will earn. So he's an unrestricted free agent in 2018. So 2 summers from now. So if I'm Boston Celtics, I'm not signing him after that because he's going to be 30 years old. And like I just said, he's a good player, he's not a great player. Just like right now with the Raptors, you know, they've done this for a long period of time now. They've tried the Lowry and the DeRozan combo, and it's been great in the regular season. It's got them a top, you know, 4 or 5 seed in the East, you know, consecutive seasons. But once the playoffs come around, they don't get it done. Valanciunas is a good piece. Ibaka's a good piece. DeRozan is you know, he's one of the top, you know, 25 players in the league, and that's kind of an understatement. I could probably say top 15. I mean, he's one of those guys. And when he was young, you're like, when's this guy gonna do this? When's this guy gonna do this? And then he started popping off. And one thing you will see is guys will continue to pop off, and he's continued to pop off. And so, you know, he got his contract last year, and so I'm eager to see who they bring in. I think DeMarre Carroll is a guy that's been injured a lot, but I think he's a great player. He's a guy I loved watching at Missouri. I think they should keep him in there, but they need a new point. I don't know who that point will be. You know, they may build DeLon Wright. They might build Van Vliet, but I think they need someone right now. You know, if they can get a veteran guy that really honestly cares about facilitating, I think that would be huge for their team. And I think this summer Valanciunas really needs to get in the gym, and he really needs to improve his offensive game. He's good offensively. I'm not saying he's bad, but I think this team needs these guys to just excel a little bit more, and I think these guys are right here. But I think that's going to be a huge thing, that Lowry not being there anymore. But you know, they gave it. They tried for a while. You know, they tried it for a while. Washington, I'm thoroughly impressed with John Wall and Bradley Beal, the combinations they made. Gortat is a very good big man. I know He's a big, ugly dude. You feel like he doesn't do a lot. Um, but he really is a good big man. He cares about playing defense. He's a very good screener. And he gets a lot of trash buckets. You know, he's not a guy that you have to feed. You have to feed to get points. He gets a lot of trash points, and he's going to get you your 10, 11 rebounds a game. So Gortat, I think it's good to re-sign Gortat. Markieff Morris is a guy I could care less about. He's a good player out there, but I can replace Markieff Morris. You know what I mean? And to me, he's good for their small ball lineup, but I think this year, if Nene would have stayed, I think that would have been deadly. You know, Nene had a great year for the Rockets, but I think Nene kind of got tired of coming off the bench behind Gortat. Well, I can't say that because he came off the bench here. I think he just kind of went elsewhere because he felt like this isn't where I'm going to win a ring. But they need a four. They need a four. That's what they need. They need a four. Otto Porter really, he looked shell shocked his first playoffs. He was more of just playing defense. Shot threes if they were open. He really deferred to Wall and Bill. I've noticed in the playoffs these younger guys, they tend to take a little step back. Kind of watch the game a little bit more. Thoroughly impressed with Kelly Oubre. He's a guy that I felt like came out way too early at Kansas. He lacked playing time at Kansas. He didn't look ready for the NBA at that point, but he has done a tremendous job. I thought he would, but he's done a tremendous job of developing himself. He honestly might be the 3 over Otto Porter. They may move Otto Porter to the 4. Just say bye, Markieff Morris. Otto Porter's going to have to hit the gym though. But yeah, they've got a really good young team in the Wizards, and they will be the team that probably knocks LeBron off in the next couple of years. If it's not them, it'll probably be the Bucks. Now, I don't know what Jabari Parker will be. After 2 years from now, I know he's going to be a crafty, good. He's going to learn how to score, but I don't know how injuries will trump him. Giannis, they're starting to have a good team there. And for the Milwaukee, Giannis is the next. He will take LeBron's spot as the best player in the NBA 3 years from now, 3 years from now, when LeBron starts to kind of go down. Because I think it'll eventually happen. And I think John Wall and his team he's going to be the star that eventually knocks them out of the playoffs, or they're gonna break the threshold. So for the Celtics, though, I didn't as much talk about the Celtics team. Avery Bradley, great defender. He's developed his 3-point shooting. I think they can rely on him as a star. But a guy that he's such a the reason he's such a good star is because his best strength is his defense. You have to cover him because he's going to shoot threes. But they play such a good team game there in Boston. Marcus Smart's a really good defender, and I think he'll continue to develop. Al Horford, to me he's soft, but he's a good big man. His game doesn't have to be strong. He makes a lot of his shots. He gets to the free throw line. And then I think Jaylen Brown will be a good player, but I think it's not going to be anytime soon. I think it'll be 2 to 3 years down the road until you start to see Jaylen Brown being a great player. Jay Crowder's a really good defender. If you see what they've done there in Boston, they have guys that want to play defense. I think that's one of the biggest problems with the NBA is guys lack defense. And they have guys that really play defense there, and I think that's what really puts them where they're at. They got the 1 seed in the East, and I think that's kind of the mystery too with Boston is how do they do this? they're really not. They really don't have that great of a team, you know. And then Isaiah Thomas does play great in the fourth quarter. He's a great scorer. He's a good player. But to me, it's kind of like the Lowry thing. He's already almost 30. I just don't look at him as a guy that is going to get it done. For the Rockets, I think they've got a glass ceiling that they've got to break. I don't think adding another star will make this team any better. I think the team that they have now is very good. They have very good shooters and good bench players. I think adding another star to this team will mess the chemistry. Will get Harden off. I mean, Harden was so focused this year. He loved the team that he had. He really thought his team could make it. You know what I mean? And then he choked Game 5, and then he didn't show up for Game 6. So I mean, that's what happened there. I'll talk about more of these other teams probably later after off season and stuff like that. Other things about the playoffs. I knew the Rockets had a lot better team than the Thunder. I knew that the Rockets would win the series. Westbrook showed out. I think Westbrook should win MVP. I think Harden's a close second, but what Harden done with what Westbrook's done with the triple doubles, and then just the way. My thing is I've always said this year is who helps their team the most. You know what I mean? And I feel that and I think what even improves it even more is just the fact that you're playing the Rockets for 5 or 6 games. I think they played 5 games, and in every game in almost every game you had the lead going into the fourth quarter, and Westbrook goes out for those 2 minutes. Harden is out at that time too. You rest your stars right when the fourth quarter starts a lot of times. Bring them in for the last 6-7 minutes of the game, and in that time period, Thunder lose their lead, and it just reinforces what I continue to say all year, that the Rockets have a better team than the Thunder. And so that's something for me that was just spoke to me. That was just like, this is why, this is something that I felt for the most of the year, and this is something that this is reinforced right now. And then Westbrook's forced to come in a 2-minute break, and then he's forced to come in. Harden's over there chilling on the bench, and he's able to rest his 5 minutes or 4 minutes that he needs, and then he's able to go back in more fresh. So I just it was a good series. The Clippers Jazz series was very, to me, thrown off because the injuries to it and stuff like that. And I kind of had a feeling after Blake Griffin went down that the Clippers really weren't going to win. But at the same time, I knew neither team. The thing that I realized in both of these series with the Clippers and the Jazz and the Thunder and the Rockets was that these teams don't have a chance to beat the Spurs or the Warriors. So I was just enjoying the series, and I knew that the next series was probably not going to be that great. I knew the Rockets and the Spurs series was going to be pretty good, but I knew the Spurs were going to win. Nobody beats Pop in the playoffs other than the Warriors, and that's because they have super team. And no Kawhi. The Spurs might even have won that game 1. Gone to San Antonio, at least won one of them. Going back there 2-2. You know what I mean? And Pop's a dog. He's gonna feed Kawhi. He's gonna feed LaMarcus. So, but they're down 2-0 now. That they might win one at home. You know what I mean? I think it'll probably be like a 4-1 or a 4-2 series. Then the Grizzlies was a team that actually played the Spurs pretty well. And I think if the thing is in the West every year is what seed you get, because then it's the type of matchup you get, and then so you don't want to have to play Spurs in the first round. So some young teams that I think will be good in the West in the future. I think the Timberwolves. A lot of times when teams change their logos, that's when they're ready to start getting good. When teams start changing their logos, at least making it to the playoffs. That's something that I've noticed. Talk about Hawks. They've been real successful lately. They changed their logo not too long ago. Wizards used to be dog shit. They changed their logo not too long ago. Warriors even changed their logo not too long ago, and they've been successful ever since they did that. Let's see who else. Clippers, they've changed their logo, and that was kind of when Ballmer, I think, bought the team. But I don't really like their uniforms now, but they're different, I'd say. The Grizzlies, they changed their logo and they got good too. Let's see who else. Timberwolves. So Timberwolves, that's what I was saying. That's what I'm getting at. Timberwolves changed their logo. They're changing their logo this year a little bit, and so they're getting ready to get. Wiggins is going to be is a very good player. I can't wait for people to start seeing him play like in the playoffs and stuff. Karl Anthony Towns, he's soft but he's young. I think he's going to get hard. And I think New Orleans. New Orleans is might have Boogie one more year. Probably have the possibility to make the playoffs. They need to add some more players. So those are two teams. Nikola Jokic, one of my favorite young players in the league, for the Nuggets. I think that's a team that's gonna Gary Harris. I think that's a team that's gonna start excelling into the playoffs. And I think the Lakers still have a couple years to go. Kings a couple years to go. I like Willie Cauley-Stein though. Skylar Brazier. And then the Suns. The Suns have a awesome player in Devin Booker. But I think they have more years to develop. They'll get another lottery pick this year. They'll probably get another lottery pick next year. And then I think they're going to be ready to really start doing something there in Phoenix. And Phoenix, I'm just going to say it, Phoenix gets hoed every year. They honestly always have one. Like, if you looked at the last 4 years, the 76ers have the worst record, but probably the second worst record would be either the Nets or the Suns. And the Suns never have a top 3 pick in the draft, and that's just because they're a small market team. When you talk about the East teams that kind of might be coming up in the next couple of years, if the Heat can add another scorer, I think the Heat can be a better team. If the Pacers can retain Paul George, they can be a better team. I don't think they will retain Paul George. I think Paul George will be jumping to the Lakers this summer. Chicago is in a situation where they've got some really stupid fuckers running their team, and it really pisses me off. John Paxson's a fucking idiot, and they basically have two options. They're gonna sell Jimmy Butler and get draft picks and tank and be good in 5 to 6 years, or they can keep Jimmy Butler and they can start to build around Jimmy Butler. But they tried to build around Jimmy Butler last year, and they gave him an old Dwayne Wade, which I knew was not going to really be that great. And they gave him Rondo. Rondo's good, but what Rondo did in the first round of the playoffs, I hadn't seen in a long ass time. Like, he was inspired because he was playing the Celtics or something. But he was absolutely amazing those first 2 games. Like I said, Bucks. They've already made the playoffs. They almost beat the Raptors. I think they're a team that's going to be good. And then the Hawks, they're a team that's they've hit. It's kind of like they've hit that ceiling. You know what I mean? They're right there. They hit that ceiling, and Dennis Schroeder's a really good player. I think Dennis Schroeder's going to be a player that, a lot of people are hating on him right now, but he's only 23. I think he's going to be a really good player in the NBA. If they can retain Millsap, I really like how Dwight Howard doesn't really shoot the ball anymore. He's became more just let me get my boards and, I'm trying to win. type player. I think they're going to add a shooter. I feel like this is what I'm saying a lot of time. Like the league lacks shooting guards, but if they can get a shooter, that's something that would be good for them. They should have never gave away Kyle Korver. That was some retarded shit. You know what I mean? But let's see here. Kemba needs another stud. Like they need one more player for him before they can really. But he's a really good player. He's a clutch player. Pistons, they just changed the logo. They're thinking they're about to be good. I don't know if they're about to be good or not. And to further that, I really feel like they've done a really shitty job in the draft lately. They have Drummond. I really like Reggie Jackson. I don't think they like Reggie Jackson though. And then the Knicks, they've got so much turmoil. They're like they're like CNN, man. But that's the thing. That's the thing. New York loves soap operas and shit like that. So like it just feeds to that fucking crowd up there. I think. And I mean, thing is, they're gonna have Porzingis. Porzingis is gonna stay as a Knick. They need to build the team around Porzingis. I mean, Phil Jackson's not lying. They need to get rid of Melo. Melo's just kind of chilling there because he likes New York. He likes fashion. He's got a lot of money. He's close to where he used to live, from Baltimore. He went to college at Syracuse. I mean, shit. I mean, Melo has noticed that this is a business and that, I don't have a ring right now, and man, I wish I did have a ring, but man, this money is nice, you know what I mean? This big chilling is nice, you know what I mean? Like, he basically gets paid to play at Madison Square Garden every night, like put on a show every night, and then he goes home, you know what I mean? Like, and he ain't even really putting on a show no more. He don't even have to do that no more because we got Porzingis. And then it's just like, my thing is, like, I've noticed, like, when I was younger, I always get hyped about the Knicks, like, about, like, they signed this guy, they're going to be good this year. And, in 2013 or so, when they got JR, they got Melo, they had a really good year that year. Young Sumter, Amari Stoudemire, he didn't really play that much. I think he was injured most of the year. But, I mean, Melo was just a beast. J.R. Smith would have games where he would just go off. They actually were good at that time. But then, like, this year, Courtney Lee, Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah. I'm like, they could compete for the 8 seed. No, they're competing for, like, one of the top lottery picks. Like, that's sad. You know what I mean? Like, you got all them Knicks fans real hyped thinking, hey, we might make the playoffs. Hey, we might make some noise. And they were absolute dog shit. Magic have continued to get top draft picks. I think Alfred Payton is ready to. I think he's going to start really being a lot better offensively. He's a good defensive point guard. And Aaron Gordon, baby Blake Griffin. I think he's going to continue to develop. They've got their European big man. Like, I feel like every good team has their European big man. And Vujicic is a good one. I wish they would have never got rid of Tobias Harris. I don't really look at Evan Fournier as a star. I look at him as more of like a shooter. And they paid him the big bucks. And he's kind of one of their stars on the team, which is kind of sad. But they'll get a high pick this year. Hopefully they'll do something with it. And then the Nets, so sad the Nets don't even get a pick in the draft, or like that first pick in the draft. And they're a bad team right now. If Brook Lopez was to leave, they would literally be nothing. So, Brooklyn's going to continue to be bad. They're going to continue to develop their young players, Rondae Hollis Jefferson. I mean, that's basically what these next couple of years are going to be, just developing these young guys that they have. Probably, Whitehead will probably be a pretty good player. If I was a young player, I would ask, can I go please play for the Nets? Because you're going to get a lot of playing time, you're going to get a lot of experience, and then you're going to get noticed by another team, and then you can go there and play for them. Or, maybe you'll be one of the guys that, when they get one of these young studs in a couple of years, maybe that's going to be all. But then you talk about the Sixers. The Sixers, they're a team that's ready. I think they're going to get another pick this year. I think Simmons will thoroughly impress people. I was thoroughly impressed when I watched him in college. I think the amount of time that for the fact that he didn't make the NCAA tournament, and then the fact that he didn't play his entire rookie year, I think really is one of those things that is a letdown to people like, oh, I want to see him play, but he's an amazing guy. Like, just believe me. And he's going to be an amazing player in the league. And, he's just sitting there with that little sleeping emoji. Just I swear, he's probably, that's just what he's saying. Just stay asleep. Like, this guy is amazing. Embiid needs to stay healthy more. They need to just get the fuck rid of Okafor. He's just in the way. That's one thing I will say about the Sixers, though. They've wasted a lot of picks. They got Nerlens Noel, they got Okafor, and they got I think they got Michael Carter Williams even really early. And then they've also got Embiid really early. So my thing is like, you've got all these guys really early, and my thing about, like, okay, Okafor, Nerlens, and then Embiid. Okay, Embiid and Nerlens were both coming off injuries. Like, they're guys that they drafted in the sense of, like, well, we can trade these guys if they can become good, or, like, these are guys that are, supposed to be really good, that, they're going to come back from these injuries. Well, Nerlens is in Dallas now, and we'll see what happens with him, but I don't really look at him as, like a star. I look at him as, like, a defensive guy in the lane and stuff like that. And a little bit of offense. Okafor, I don't know about Okafor. Like, I was kind of high on Okafor when when he was in college, and but he doesn't really play that great of defense. And give him a couple years. He's a young guy still. But I'm actually happy more now with the Lakers that they got D'Angelo Russell, because I think another team will fight on D'Angelo Russell, and take him, and because I don't really want D'Angelo Russell either. I feel like he's going to be a head case. But I think the Sixers are going to be good soon. They're going to get another top 3 pick this year. And talking about the draft itself, talking about the draft itself, it's one of those things, like, I'm really thoroughly impressed with the prospects this year. And I don't know if that's because, I really watched college basketball this year, and I really, got to see these guys in college and really see their game. But, I'm going to be honest, I don't, Markelle Fultz is number 1 on a lot of people's big boards. And I will say, I watched some Washington games, but when they're getting destroyed every game, and it's kind of hard to watch. It's kind of hard to really see how good a player is when their teams get destroyed like that. You can see these guys triple double and pulling up and shooting and stuff like that. But I hope that I feel like it's one of those things. It's kind of your preference this year. Fultz, Lonzo, and then Josh Jackson, De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, like, all of those guys, every single one of them is a tremendous players, tremendous talents. Dennis Smith Jr. Dude was kind of the same as Markelle Fultz. He was a guy that was on a shitty team, but he looked really good. So now I'm just gonna I'm looking at like NBA draft. I was gonna look at the name. Okay, so another Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum's just. I mean, he's a fucking beast. You know what I mean? Once he came back from the injury, a motherfucking beast. Jonathan Isaac. This guy to me is just a physical specimen. Okay, if he can develop. I mean, he's really skinny. If he can develop, and I mean, if he can develop into a shooting forward or a small forward, I mean, shit, 6'10", shooting forward. Holy shit! Like I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like it's basically like your preference because I mean, okay, so on this list that I'm looking at, this is on NBADraft.net. They've got Zach Collins. Okay, well, let's not even go there. They got So they have the top 9 guys are freshmen. So Zach Collins is a 9th freshman. Malik Monk at 8. Dennis Smith at 7. Jonathan Isaac, Jason Tatum, De'Aaron Fox, Josh Jackson, Lonzo Ball, Markelle Fultz as 1. So those are all freshmen. Every single one of those guys are freshmen. Now, to me, I mean, there's going to be more freshmen. But, okay, so I like looking at these. To me, it's so hard because I watched it all year and I know all of these guys so well. It's so hard for me to decipher, which is. It's like I know Zach Collins is like 9 like on this list, but I wouldn't even put Zach Collins there. I'd put Larry Markkinen at 9. Honestly, and then this Jaren Allen guy that went to Texas, I wouldn't have him as high. This Frank Nick, I don't even know how to say his name, but Ntilikina from France. This kid, I mean, I've seen some film on him. He's good. I was impressed by him. I would put him. I mean, I would have him where he's at, but I would have John Collins at 11 over like Jared Allen. T.J. Leaf. I think I would have T.J. Leaf over John Collins. Man, Kyle Kuzma's really high. I'm surprised that Kyle Kuzma is as high as that. I really liked Kyle Kuzma all year, but I'm surprised he's that high. Justin Patton, he's a guy that he's going to have to develop. I mean, honestly, all these freshmen. That's the thing too. You got to understand. All these freshman guys are going to have to develop. Okay, so Hamidou Diallo. This guy didn't even play at Kentucky, but it says Kentucky on there. I don't know what happened with him. But, I mean, he entered the draft. I don't really know a lot about him. Justin Jackson's the guy that's going to be more – I think he's going to be more ready to play sooner than later. Bam Adebayo, Bam is a guy that soft at times, but I think he's going to be able to be good. Harry Giles, I think Harry Giles just needs to get to the NBA, get a little bit of money, and I don't really think he's going to be that great. I think he was a great player at one point, but I think the injuries in his life, and I will say he really was a shell of himself this year. If you grade Harry Giles by his film, you're not going to be impressed. But we'll see what happens with him. Ivan Rabb is a really good guy. He almost came out after his freshman year. We'll see what happens with him. And Tyler Lydon, pretty good player. Luke Kennard, I really like Luke Kennard. He's got that runner as a point guard. And Donovan Mitchell is very good. Okay, Dwayne Bacon. All right, show this Dwayne some love. This is a very good player. I love Dwayne Bacon. Frank Jackson is more of a defensive guy. It'll take multiple years for him to develop. I don't know about him. PJ Dozier, he had a really good tournament and he had a good year. I'll take that away from him, but Oh my gosh, Ormer U7 came into the draft, and he's the 29th. No, I think this guy definitely needs a lot more. I think he needs another year in college, but at the same time, I mean, I thought Steven Adams needed another year in college. So we'll see what happens with him. But this guy, I don't know. I don't even think he should be this high. Rondon Kurikas from Latvia. I don't know too much about him. I'll do some research on him. Do some research on Diallo too. But okay, so and then Terrence Ferguson, he's a guy that was playing for like I think they're the 38ers or some shit like that. But he's a guy that's coming into the draft. He is international, it says. Maybe that's just because I don't know why. But 6'7". I saw some of his combine stuff. I think he's gonna be a pretty good player. And like I said, a league that lacks shooting guards, 6'7" shooting guard. That's gonna be that'll be nice. So Zach Collins was someone I was very, very impressed with when he was at Gonzaga. And we'll see what happens in the NBA. I think it'll be good for, it's like I don't like looking at mock drafts. I don't like looking at stuff like that because things change so much and stuff like that. I just kind of more want to see like where they have these players at. And I like Zach Collins at 9. I try to ignore the team that's over here on the other side of it. I try to just look at where they at, number wise, and because when you're someone like Boston, you may be drafting for your future. And when you talk about Markelle Fultz is a point guard. Like I said earlier, Isaiah Thomas, his contract is up after next year. This is a prime opportunity for them to draft Markelle Fultz, he will start to develop. Then, and maybe Isaiah Thomas, maybe they'll say, Isaiah Thomas, we'll sign you to a deal and you'll be a bench man. You'll be someone that comes off the bench. You'll be a 6-man scorer. I don't know. Maybe they say, well, we don't really know about this Markelle kid. We need Isaiah still. We'll see what happens. Maybe they'll sign him to like a 2-year deal. Maybe Isaiah Thomas will be smart this time and know how the business side of the NBA, and he'll go someplace where he can get a 4 or 5-year deal. I don't think he can get a 5-year deal, 4-year deal. But Markelle Fultz makes sense for Boston. Lonzo Ball makes sense for the Lakers. He's from the Los Angeles area. His dad's been talking about this all year. He's a great player. He's a great facilitator. He was one of my favorite players to watch throughout the year, from the first at the year, all year. I think Josh Jackson is the most well-rounded player. So I was wondering why Josh Jackson was not one on this list, and it's because Boston doesn't need a shooting guard. They need a point guard in the future. Josh Jackson. If I'm a Lakers fan, I wish they would just pick Josh Jackson over Lonzo Ball. But the way the Lakers are, the head cases that they have in Los Angeles, and the way money works, Lonzo Ball will probably make a lot more sense. But Josh Jackson to Philadelphia is absolutely scary. That's a small forward to go with. With fucking Ben Simmons. If Lowry decides to sign there, Lowry's 31, 32 years old. He's a kind of more of a veteran guy. If Embiid's there, if Darius Saric is there, I mean, this team is starting to really, really get scary, in the future, and it's gonna make it that. I don't know if these lottery things are going to be able to go on for much longer because, I mean, Sam Hinkie got fired and they tried to make Sam Hinkie look like a terrible GM and like, oh man, he's got such a bad record. This is the worst GM of all time. But he basically tried to break this lottery shit because he knew if I tank every year, I'm going to get the best prospects, and I'm going to just be able to build my team. You know what I mean? And this is exactly what he said he would do, and this is what's happening. You know what I mean? Like he made the Sixers so bad that in his time period there, they're like, you're retarded. You know what I mean? Like you're going to be bad for like they're gonna fire you, or eventually the team you're gonna lose your team. And it's like, no, like he knew that like he'll get fired, and then someone will come in and he'll try to pick up the pieces, and it's gonna take 3 years for him to pick up the pieces, and then at that point they'll be successful. So they got De'Aaron Fox as 4 on this list. I love De'Aaron Fox. He is very Westbrookish to me. The way he pushes the ball down the floor. I like him at 4. I do, deciphering the list, I will say he's the 4th best player. Now, does Phoenix Suns need another motherfucking player from Kentucky? Another point guard from Kentucky? No, they do not need another point guard from Kentucky. This team is basically a bunch of Kentucky point guards. But I wish De'Aaron Fox would go someplace else. But, okay, so De'Aaron Fox, Devin Booker in the future, dang, that could be really scary. Jason Tatum is a very good player. Him in Sacramento is also them picking the best player at that point in the draft. And I think also them picking Jason Tatum is a key piece to their team. I can't remember if Rudy Gay said he's going to opt out or if he's going to stay. I'm sure he'll opt out though. But if he is to come back to the Kings, it wouldn't really mess up. Tatum's going to take 2 to 3 years to develop. Jonathan Isaac in this list. Jonathan Isaac's my biggest wild card. He's the guy that they're gonna maybe 10 years from now you're gonna say, man, you let this guy slip to 6. You know what I mean? You picked these 6 guys over. You took these 5 guys over him. You know what I mean? And I really think Jonathan Isaac is going to be a very, very special player. It will take years for him to develop. Dennis Smith, I think, dang, he's a guy. I mean, he's a guy to me. He can catch fire and he can get hot, and he's explosive. I just look at him though as I think he's a guy that will deal with injuries just because of the way he plays. He goes so hard. I think he's going to deal with injuries. I think Malik Monk will be, a very good player in the league. He's a very determined guy. I think he's one of the guys that is the most ready right now. I think he's the most ready guy on this list. That I think he'll make the biggest impact early. In my sense, he's my early choice for Rookie of the Year would be Malik Monk. I think he's going to have the most of an opportunity. The way that the NBA lacks shooting guards. So, you go down the list. Jared Allen from Texas. I think he should have stayed another year. He's going to take multiple years to develop. Lauri Markkanen is another guy that I think will be pretty good early on. Like I said, John Collins. I like John Collins a lot. He's pretty high on this list. TJ Leaf. Okay, so then, after the first round, these are more guys that they're older. Some of them are older. They're definitely not freshmen. They're guys that are going to be more ready to play now than later. So, not necessarily now, but maybe 2 years from now, and maybe a team that is good that can bring in a younger guy and him have playing time and maybe be successful. That's something that can also happen with these guys. So Jordan Bell will definitely get drafted. He's going to be I think he'll be a pretty good NBA player. I think, and he understands the way he can come into the NBA and play good defense, and block shots, be a good passer, and like he didn't care about being the star. Wesley Awundalo, another good player. I look at him more of as a small forward. He's a guy that's a senior. He's an older guy. It's kind of surprising to me that he's as high as he is. I think I would have him a little lower, but he will definitely get drafted. Edmund Sumter. Surprised that Edmund Sumter's coming into the draft after being injured, but I guess he's ready to come out. He's going to be a very good player. I like him at 33. Jared Blossomgang. Jared Blossomgang's a senior. He's a guy that's going to be more ready sooner than later. I really like Blossomgang from Clemson. Anna Bogu, he was impressive when he would come in, but he lacked playing time at UCLA. And I think that's why he's as low as he is, even as a freshman. Jonathan Motley is a very good talent. I like him low more than I like him high. I've seen him high on some draft boards. I like him at 36 because he's a guy that will take multiple years to develop, but he's already a junior. He doesn't have a high basketball IQ. I saw a lot of times he'd get 2 fouls and he'd pick up that third one right there real quick. He doesn't really control himself well on the defensive end. But he's very hard worker. He's got a lot of emotion to his game. I really like Jonathan Motley as a player. And then, Juwan Evans, he's a sophomore. He's very small, but I think Juwan Evans, he'll get drafted. I think Juwan Evans is going to be a good player in the league. Sindarius Thornwell, he's a guy that's already a senior. I think he's going to be a guy that makes an impact early on in his career. Anzis Pasanix from Latvia, 7'1" center, so, one of your international guys. We'll see what happens with him. We'll see what he develops into. I'll do some research on him because I don't know much about him. OG Anunoby, one of my favorite names to say. He's going to be a lockdown defender in the NBA. He's falling to 40 because I don't think he can really play right now and do the combine type stuff because of his knee injury that he suffered during the year. But this is a guy that I look at as like Draymond Green, like y'all like stay asleep. Another thing about Draymond Green was like a senior. I think he stayed most of the time. Anunoby's only a sophomore. Cam Oliver, didn't get to see a lot of Cam Oliver. I did see that he was one of the better players for Nevada. I did get to see the Mountains. I watched the Mountain West Conference Championship game, and then I watched obviously their one game against Iowa State in the tournament, and he was impressive. He's a good player. Josh Hart is low just because he's a senior. I think Josh Hart will go to a team that's, like I said, like a team that's already pretty developed, and he's going to come in and he's going to be able to show his talent. I think Josh Hart will be good. Damont Dotson, he's another small or shooting guard. He's a senior. We'll see what happens with him. Caleb Swanigan, surprisingly low to me, 44 on this list. I like Swanigan. Was one of the top players in the college basketball season. I think he'll take multiple years to develop, but I think 44 is a little low when you have someone like Omer at 7. Well, I guess also the fact that Swanigan's only 6'9", he's really not that big. He looks really big, but he's really not that big. Well, I mean, he could be a really big power forward though. Dylan Brooks, surprised that he's this low. I know he's really arrogant, but he's got like that Kobe gene. He makes it happen. Tyler Dorsey, I'm surprised Tyler Dorsey's this low. I guess I understand that Tyler Dorsey had like a really good NCAA tournament, and a lot of people watched the NCAA tournament, so he probably came out because of that. But I think it'll take years. I think a couple years for Tyler Dorsey to develop. Matthias Lesort from France, don't know a lot about him. Jonathan Janine from France, he's 7'2". Don't know a lot about him. I'll do some research on them. Semi Ojale. To me, he's a little low. I would have Semi Ojale a little higher than this. I really like his play throughout the year. He's a very talented player. The only problem with him is he's kind of like a big He's kind of like a big dude, but he's only 6'6", so that's another reason why he's as low as he is. Um, Derek White, tremendous. He's a guy that played at some small college, and then he transferred to Colorado his senior year, and he was Colorado's best player. Very determined guy. You know, I could see him being a good role player in the NBA. Kobe Simmons. Kobe Simmons is very low on this list for being a freshman to come out of the draft, to come in. I think this is kind of like a sleeper pick. I mean, maybe Kobe Simmons will go a little bit higher than this, but to me, he's a little low. I mean, he was pretty good during when he was at Arizona. Alex Peters, a senior from Valparaiso, he got hurt towards the end of the year. You know, Valparaiso probably would have made the NCAA tournament. He would have been able to showcase himself a little bit. But I mean, 6'8" power forward. He'll probably be a good power forward in the NBA. Monte Morris. I'll be really upset if someone like Monte Morris. I'll be really upset if someone like Frank Mason doesn't get drafted. I think Monte Morris and I think Frank Mason are two guys that will make an impact soon. You know, the fact that Frank Mason's already 23 years old, but also Frank Mason's tiny. I don't really think Frank Mason will be that great, but he could be like an Isaiah Thomas. You know, and I mean, he'll probably get drafted very late. Monte Morris will get drafted very late. But Monte Morris is going to be, to me, I think he'll be a really good player. Sterling Brown, I think will be a good defensive guy. Obviously, pretty late on that. Nigel Williams-Goss, I feel like he's a little low, but he is a junior. You know, Chance Comanche, obviously Chance Comanche came a little early. I don't think he will be drafted. Probably, he might be drafted. He might not. I mean, I don't know why. I don't really know why he came out, but I don't know why Omar U7 came out either. And then we've got Alexander. The name's cut off. Zimin from Bulgaria. And then we got Jan Bolden, Australia, and Yigman Gulben from Turkey as some other guys. That's just like the top 60 guys. Let's see here. Let's go here. So top 50, top 100 prospects. This list is a little different. Raleigh Alkins is 37 on this list, but he wasn't even on the top 60. Raleigh Alkins is a pretty good player. I think he'd be a good defensive player. And he's a shooting guard. Like I said, the league lacks shooting guards. There's this kid named Marshall. Okay, so Isaiah Hartenstein. I don't know if I forgot to say his name. He was really high on draft boards earlier. I don't know why he's as low as he is now. Tony Bradley. Tony Bradley is going to take years to develop. Let's see here. Alexander Yusevinkov was his name. Davin Reed, a senior. I think this guy deserves to get drafted, but he probably won't. Isaac Humphries won't get drafted. You know, and if you don't get drafted, doesn't mean you're not gonna make a team. You'll probably get signed, just not on a you're going to go to the D League. VJ Beecham, I think, is a guy that should get drafted. Another guy that I didn't have on this list that I think will get drafted. Well, we'll see if I see his name. I will see his name. Let's see here. Aaron Holiday. I think Aaron Holiday should get drafted. I don't know why Aaron Holiday wasn't on that top 60 list. I mean, he's only a sophomore. Let's see. Chris Boucher. Chris Boucher's a senior, I guess. I don't know if he'll get drafted after the injury. Isaiah Hicks. Yeah, Isaiah Hicks was a senior, and he really didn't improve that much over the last couple years of his career. Moritz Wagner should stay another year. I mean, he's one of those guys that's like going into the draft because he had a good NCAA tournament. Moses Kingsley's a senior. I don't know if he'll get drafted. Deng Adele should be higher than this. Deng Adele's a very good player. I don't know why he's low. Melo Trimble is low. I don't know why Melo Trimble's low. I think Melo Trimble should get drafted. LJ Peak. Okay, LJ Peak was a junior that transferred to Georgetown. Andrew White was an all right player. I don't think he'll get drafted. Trayvon Blewett. Well, how is Trayvon Blewett not in the top 60? Like, what the fuck? This kid is a tremendous player. Nigel Hayes, another good player. Thomas Bryant, another good player. Thomas Welsh. Thomas Welsh is going to be good in the NBA. I don't care what nobody says. Charles Cook, another good guy. Isaiah Briscoe. How the hell you got Isaiah Briscoe this low? Dude went to Kentucky. I think he'll be a good defender. Devin Robinson. Devin Robinson just had a good NCAA tournament. He deserves to be this low. Peter Jok should not be this low. He's a guy that he looks like he's been playing basketball for like 5 years, and he's a damn good shooter. If you don't draft Peter Jok, you're an idiot. Kadeem Allen is a senior. He'll be all right. Jalen Moore. Don't even know who Jalen Moore is. He went to Utah State. 6'8", small forward. Marcus Marshall. This dude is raw. I don't know why he's as low as this. Eric Minka, raw. I don't know why he's so low. Taco Fall, raw. I don't know why this dude's so low. Kennedy Meeks, raw. I don't know why this dude's so low. What the hell? This dude's this list sucks. NBADraft.com, your top 60 sucks. Jonathan Williams, that low. Luke Cornett, a 7-1 3-point shooter, that low. Why? Justin Jackson, a freshman out of Maryland. No, why is he that low? This is terrible. All right, I'm done. Mocks. Let's see here. Oh, we already have the 2018 mock up. Oh, Michael Porter, Mohamed Bomam, Robert Williams. Golly.
You can start your search at the all-new Carfax.com.
What is that one kid?
Show me the Carfax. Now the car you want and the history you need are easy to find. Show me used trucks with one owner.
Oh, maybe Aaron Holiday. Oh, DJ Wilson. Maybe these guys took themselves out of the draft. Maybe that's why they're not in it. Maybe Isaiah Hartenstein took them out of the draft. Yeah, maybe that's why some of these guys aren't in the draft. Okay. So, that list. Okay, so maybe some of these guys have dropped. Let me see what guys. Okay, so the reason. So I looked at this list wrong. The reason that I thought, or like, this is just prospects in general. So some of these guys that are low on this list are guys that might have already taken themselves out of the draft, or they don't have to come out of the draft right now, so they're going to come in, maybe next year. Because like I was looking at the 2018 mock draft, and some of these guys that are like low on that list are actually pretty high on the list this next year. So yeah, okay. All right. But we need some more options. NBADraft.net. But the thing is, everybody's top 12 or so is like the exact same. And then I like to see what really tells, what really to me talks is from 60 from 20 to 60 are the ones that I actually am kind of care. So this one, they have Tatum at 4, Fox at 5, Monk at 6, Isaac at 7, Smith at 8, Markkanen at 9. Okay, I agree with that. Then Zach Collins, then Takina from France, Donovan Mitchell at 12. That's pretty high to me, but he's good. OG Anunoby at 13. See, I agree with that a little bit more. Justin Jackson at 14. Okay. Ike Anunoby, no, I don't see him at 15. Luke Kennard at 16. Okay. Jared Allen at 17. Okay, I agree with that a little bit more. John Collins, I would take John Collins over Jared Allen, but okay, I like that. Justin Patton right after that, another freshman. Ivan Rabb. Rodions Kurucs, the international 19-year-old. Isaiah Hartenstein at 22. But I will let you know, he averaged 1 point a game .8 rebounds and .2 assists for Zalgiris International. So I don't know how ready he is. TJ Leaf though, TJ Leaf averaging 16 points, 8 rebounds, and 2.5 assists a game. But he's one behind. Maybe they don't have their stats. I don't know. But TJ Leaf I think is a little low. I would have TJ Leaf up here by John Collins, Jonathan Janine. Terrence Ferguson. Terrence Ferguson is a little bit behind, a bit lower than he was. Tyler Lydon's about where he was. Passanix is a little higher than he was. Harry Giles is about right where he was. Jawan Evans is a little higher than he was. DJ Wilson at 30, I like that. Derek Williams is just climbing up these boards. I hadn't seen him before, and now he's just climbing up these. I knew he was a good player, though. Bam at 32. Jordan Bell, that's been a consensus. He's kind of right around there. Matthias Lasorte from France. I don't know about him. Okay, so Hamadi Dualo says New York Rennes High School. So maybe this dude didn't even play at Kentucky. I don't know. Maybe he decided to commit Kentucky and then he went to the NBA. I don't know. But he averaged 18 points a game, 5 assists as a high school senior. He's only 18. Thomas Bryant is 36 on this board. Motley, 37, I agree. Semi Ojale, 38, I agree. Frank Jackson, lower than he was, I agree. Swanigan at 40. That's a little low to me. Alex Peters, 41. Tony Bradley, 42. Yeah, I agree. Sumter, a little low, but coming off injury. And then he has Kuzma low. I mean, this other dude just must have liked Kuzma a lot or something. Yeah, I mean, I agree more that Kuzma's lower than higher. Josh Hart, Dylan Brooks, PJ Dozier, Jonah Bolden, Frank Mason at 49, Tyler Dorsey at 50. I feel like Tyler Dorsey should not play. I think he should take himself out of the draft. Devin Robinson. We'll see what happens with Monte Morris, Cameron Oliver, Blossom Gang. Dude, why the hate on Dwayne Bacon, dude? Dwayne Bacon should not be this low. Wesley Awundalo, Sandorius Stunwell, Nigel Williams-Goss, Colby Simmons, Sterling Brown. With the comments say, no Peter Jock. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What the hell? No Peter Jock? William Goss, Swanigan, Thornwell Hart, Diallo are some crazy second-round sleepers. Hornets also won't take Frank when they already have. You don't fucking know, dude. Wait, what is he? What is this dude talking about? Frank. Fucking Frank. I don't know what he's talking about. Alright, that dude's lost himself. Dennis Smith's the safe pick at 6 for Orlando. Reminds me of CD franchise. Maybe. Nigel Williams-Goss that late in the draft is going to really please a fan base for decades to come. Crushed lane agility. Jalen has the great ability to play pass lanes with long wingspan. Underrated or overlooked. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he should be that low, but he already is 22 years old, so he should already be pretty good. You know what I mean? Zero chance the Sixers draft anyone that's not a guard at 3 overall. In my opinion, Monk is clearly their best pick. He fits really nicely. Let's see. I can agree with that, but Josh Jackson is just such a you can't pass Josh Jackson. Like Josh Jackson is a physical specimen. Like there's only 2 to me physical specimens in this draft, like of these top guys, and that is Josh Jackson and that is Jonathan Isaac. And I don't know. All right, let's go back to these comments. These are funny. Okay, what? Draft Fultz, trade IT, and someone else get George Butler. And someone else get George and Butler. Who is this guy? Whose man is this? I mean, Fultz is not going to be ready right now. No way Boston takes 2 guards in the draft. They are thick in guards as is. That being said, I can see Fultz being taken to play shooting guard along with Thomas. No, that's not what's going to happen. Fultz is going to be the point guard when after Thomas. Like, these motherfuckers for the Celtics love Thomas so much. They don't understand that they're going to get rid of Thomas. Like, that he's going to be gone. He's not going to be great forever. Celtics are not moving Thomas as he's a proven young all-star. They are not taking another guard. I would not be surprised if they are not looking at next year's draft for someone that they need along with to trade for a player that can help the immediate season. So this is something that, to me, a lot of people don't understand. Let's see here. Type in your Google search or whatever it is, Isaiah Thomas age. Isaiah Thomas's age. How old? This man is 28 years old. 28 years old. So we're talking about a 19-year-old kid. You know, this kid, he's only been playing since 2011. You feel like he's young. You know what I mean? You feel like this guy hadn't really played that long. But in reality, he's already 28. He's already 28 years old. February 7th was his birthday. So by next year, when he's getting his he'll be 29. You know what I mean? So LeBron's 33. So I mean, Isaiah Thomas is not him. You know, I don't look at Isaiah Thomas as the future for the Boston Celtics. That's why if Isaiah Thomas is the future for the Boston Celtics, they will draft Josh Jackson. You know, you can tell how teams feel with who they draft. But I think Markelle Fultz will replace Isaiah Thomas in the years to come. Orlando Magic or any other team will not take 3 shooting guards. Get your stuff right instead of being lazy. Dang, these are so rude. It's fascinating to hear that people actually pay attention to the Magic. Laugh out loud, yeah. Jeff Daugherty, what the? Must be a Canadian thing? What the hell? These dudes are weird. I agree. I believe Black can grow. I hope Biggie comes back for another year. I can't understand some of the logic in draft picks when Biggie is a first-team All-American and foreign player averaging less. There's a foreign player averaging less than 5 points a game. Our first-round picks. He has faults, turned the ball over too often, but is the leading rebounder in NCAA. Come on, man. But he's only 6'9". That's the thing. Laugh out loud. The Nets draft. Laugh out loud to the Nets pick here. How is Thornwell so far down? He took a decent USC team to a title game and was SEC Player of the Year over all UK players. He will be a very solid pro. That's the thing. He's that low because he's a senior. You know what I mean? He's not a freshman. He's 22. He's already 22 years old. He's not a freshman that you're going to develop and they're going to be your Kobe. You know what I mean? He's going to be a solid, like I said, he'll be a solid player. But that's why he's lower in the draft. You know what I mean? A lot of it's age. A lot of it has to do with age. You know what I mean? And a lot of those guys are really young and you're going to have to develop them.